I realize. Okay. I hope you can see me and you can still hear me because I've got the sun right behind me. And I don't have a microphone. I'm knackered. Hi. Welcome. It's lovely to be with you all again. A warm welcome to new subscribers as well. Wonderful to have you along with us. Just in case you've not been here before, you're new to the channel, and I have over 490 videos, so I don't blame you for not going all the way back and catching up. I might just do a catch-up video one day of little bits and bobs from the other videos just to catch people up. But anyway, I'm Cindy. I live in a council house in South Wales with my husband. We used to have an allotment. We've had a couple of allotments in different places we've lived, but we got sick and tired of the unnecessary bureaucracy and the little Hitlers that you find in the committees, and the fact that you couldn't grow what you want, you couldn't grow the way you wanted to grow. So we just decided to turn our entire garden front and back into our own cottage garden, because that's what I love, is cottage gardens, and it's a work in progress. Yeah, anyway, I'll do another video another time with a catch up and a refresh, just to say what we are. Needless to say, this channel is not just about the garden, it's about the home and my online business. So it's all to do with suburban self-sufficiency, and homemaking is part of that, and the garden, of course. So hang on. Oh, I'm gonna have hat head in a minute when I take this hat off. But it is a scorchingly hot day. Wonderful. I'm loving it. And I'm sitting in the garden with you today just because I can. And it's actually quite quiet, I think, because everybody is so hot they're staying indoors, so I'm outside. But there is a lovely big cloud up there that is blocking the sun for a minute. Hang on a minute. This camera is not level. Now you are. I keep forgetting to do the settings. I've left the camera off selfie for a change, so you can see the actual angle at which I'm filming, because when it's on selfie mode everything's flipped, so what's usually on my right hand in the video looks like it's on the left. I know it's the opposite way around now because I haven't flipped the camera. What was I going to say today? I did a garden video last time, and so I've been doing quite a bit in the garden again today and yesterday, because it's a catch-up kind of thing. Hang on. Can I take it off while the cloud is here? No, don't. Just leave it on. Anyway, so I've been doing loads in the garden, lots of things potted out, potted on, transplanted, watered, and even though I watered fairly early, later on with the heat, I think it got around about 12 until 2 o'clock, it must have hit at least 33 degrees, because even though the ground was still moist with the plants where I watered earlier, so they had enough water, but it was so hot they were all wilting. But they'll pick up. Some of them have already picked up because it's cooling down slightly. I'm not talking to you about the garden today though. I am talking to you about solutions to problems. Okay, okay, that's a bit better. Solutions to problems, and the narrative we've been fed every single day for the past few years. We know that it's hitting the fan. It has been for a long time, and it hits the fan with a new thing every few months. and we know that there's a lot more coming. The forecasts have been said and it's been recognized by the Bank of England, so we know that there are serious problems coming. But I want to suggest that there are solutions. I know there are solutions. I'm not an economist, so I can't tell you about all of those kind of things. I'm a home economist. That's a very different thing altogether. If you want to know more about some real solutions for these big government and nation level problems, and getting a really educated and factual storyline on all of this, then go to Richard Murphy's channel. I'll put a link in the description box underneath so you can go and check that out for yourself, so that I can at least say to you that I'm being backed up in what I've been saying for a very long time. But that's not what we're here for today. Thinking about the fuel crisis and the resultant, not just fuel because of the oil crisis and the lack of it, we also have the prospect of no fertilizers for farmers. And I was listening to this and it just made me think, hang on a minute. How did farmers fertilize their lands, their farms, pre-manufactured, processed fertilizers? How did they do that? How did they fertilize the land without these manufactured fertilizers? And yes, I understand that there's a lot more people to feed today, and that they had smaller parcels of land and they could manage it more differently because the demand for food was not so high. I mean, we have millions now to feed more than they had back in the day when they didn't use artificial fertilizers. But them going on about nitrates now, as a gardener, as a permaculturist, as somebody who's been gardening for about 30 odd years, plants don't only need nitrates. There's a whole bunch, and not just nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. That seems to be the only three that are ever mentioned in manufactured fertilizers, NPK. Those are not the only minerals that plants need. They need a whole lot more, and they need it in a natural, balanced way, because the way we fertilize with processed stuff is just the same as us putting processed foods in our bodies. It does not do us any good, just like manufactured fertilizers does not do the soil any good. And it's the soil that we get most of the fertilizer from for our plants, because those fertilizers have to be turned into something bioavailable for the plant. So so it just got me off on this rabbit hole of hang on a minute kind of thought pattern. And I was last week I found an article from the Canal and Waterways Trust, how they were battling azolla, the plant. It's a water plant. Now, I found that because I was looking for azolla to buy online, so that I could grow some at home for my own garden, because it's a natural fertilizer. It grows in plants. It turns air, it takes nitrates from the air and creates that. It creates nitrates from the air, and it prevents algae growth in water. So I thought, well, if that's a very good natural fertilizer, if you could turn it just like the way I do with my comfrey and my dandelions and nettles and other plants, when I rot them down and make compost out of them, if I could do that with it and add it to that, it's just an extra bonus. Anyway, so it turns out that it is actually banned, allowing it to grow into waterways of any kind, whether it be rivers, dams, streams, ponds, sea, whatever. You're not allowed to allow it to go into any waterway, because it is such an invasive plant that damages natural ecology, as far as it takes oxygen out of water, so it can kill the fish in the water. And of course, because it completely covers the water surface, it shades out all the other native plants. So that's why it's not allowed in the natural waterways and canals and whatever else it is. So anyway, what they did is they imported beetles from America, and I thought that was illegal, importing insects from other countries. But there you go, you know, one rule for one and one rule for another, but we're not going to get into that one, because they eradicate this problem within weeks. And I was thinking, you know, they're trying to eradicate azolla from the waterways. We have farmers who are facing not having any fertilizer for their farms. Hello, you know, can they not work together? The farmers will take the azolla off your hands, use it on their farms. And another thing, azolla is also a perfect fodder for both birds and your other farm animals. So for all your farm animals, azolla is actually a good fodder because it is so full of nutrients. So animal feed as well. That's quite a lot of benefits from one plant that's called an invasive threat. I wonder why it's called an invasive threat then. Let's see, because it is such a good, free, natural feed and fertilizer. Go figure that one. There you go. Anyway, so it got me on a bandwagon, and I emailed them and I asked them, why can't they do this? Why can't they communicate and solve the problem that way? Why can't farmers, like in other countries where they build big round water tanks, concrete water tanks like a dam on their land, why can't they set aside some of their land for that, to shore up for when there are going to be droughts? And if they put this azolla in their dams, their water storage dams, then it will prevent the growth of algae, and plus all the other benefits I've already mentioned, and that it'll protect their water for the summer, for the drought. I mean, goodness knows we get so much rain between autumn and spring that surely it can they can fill their dams, the man-made above ground concrete dams, like an above ground swimming pool, that kind of thing. We used to get them in South Africa. Farmers had them as their water storage, both for watering the animals and for watering the land. So if they could do it in other countries, then why can't they do it here? It's called thinking ahead, recognizing the problem and coming up with a solution, because every problem has a solution. So yeah, that just got me off on going down a rabbit hole and off on a tangent, and actually doing something like emailing them and asking them, has somebody thought about this? I hadn't heard anything from them since, until today an automated message just said that they've received my email and they'll get back to me as soon as somebody's had a chance to look at it. And I'm thinking, I don't expect much of an answer back, so I shall be writing to Mark, the bowler hat farmer, and asking if he's had this thought or if he's contemplated this before, and if not, because he has contact with a load of farmers and he has that platform, then maybe he can get them onto it, because surely we can come up with solutions ourselves, because those at the top who are supposed to come up with solutions on a national scale are, no, I'm not going there, I'm not going on that rant or tangent. But I just wanted to say that things are not always as they seem. Yes, it's hitting the fan because that's the narrative we've been giving, and that's the way they want it to go, because it will justify the things they want to bring in. But it doesn't have to be that way. In our homes and in our gardens, the spaces that we do have control over, because we don't have control over much else outside of our doors, except of course our families and ourselves wherever we're going. But in our homes and in our gardens, we have a level of autonomy where we can find our own solutions. You can't find solutions if all you're doing is following the narrative. You can't think for yourself if you're given what you're allowed to think and what they want you to think, and you never question it. You are not autonomous if you just accept everything that you hear. And you cannot think for yourself if that is all you ever do. Self-reliance, self-sufficiency, resilience, and I'm not talking self-sufficiency as it's all me, myself, and I can rely on myself with nobody else, because it's not how it works. It's about doing the best you can with what you have and finding your own solutions to the problems that face you, and also thinking ahead. So yeah, if you want to maintain your freedom, and to a degree we might even lose a lot of the freedoms we have within our own homes and our own spaces, especially if you're high on tech and you have phones and laptops and tablets and everything else in your home that will be using technology, then you are sacrificing a lot of your freedom. So there should be time where you can turn your phone off completely, or any technology, just turn it off and protect your health, your sanity, and your sacred space, which is your home. Your home is sacred space. Keep it that way and keep your freedom by, at least for some part of the day, turning things off. It's not that easy when you are the port of call for vulnerable people, and you need to be ready to help and serve when called on in an emergency. I understand that, but you can put the phone down. You can stop scrolling and start doing. So that's what I want you to do. I know, wait until you finish watching my video, okay? I'd appreciate that. And then when you finish watching the video, I'd appreciate it if you would share it, give it a like, and also write in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys and having your thoughts and opinions on things as well, and your input as well, because I don't know everything. You guys give absolutely, I mean, a lot of the times you guys give brilliant solutions and ideas and your own experience as well, and it just adds to the pot, so we have more autonomy to be able to draw from more sources of lived experience, not just the media headlines. So yeah, I'm ranting. This is going to take forever to upload this video, but that's where I went anyway. This is where I went this week, this past week, and also obviously trying to catch up on a few weeks missed. You miss a few weeks in the garden calendar and it takes over a month to catch up. And of course the weather has been absolutely wonderful after we had diabolical weather for a month again, of just absolute grey, dark skies, rain, wind, cold, and then suddenly we get a burst of a really lovely summer. It's supposed to break by the weekend, so it'll not be as hot, but it's still going to be very lovely. If it stays at 20 degrees as forecast, I'll take that, thank you very much. So between now and then, I've sorted out the circle here by the apple trees. I've leveled and smoothed the ground. I've put down tarpaulins, the garden rug, and tomorrow I'll be setting up the pool for the children for the weekend, and gazebo for the canopy, to keep them safe from too much sun and to prevent too much falling in the pool from the trees above. So that's what I'm doing this week, and then it's all housework, preparing for grandchildren to come for the weekend, and tidying up, and of course getting this video out to you. So by the time you get this video, everything will already have been done. I'll put a photograph in the community tab, so if you look in the community tab as well, I'll leave messages in there as well for you to see. Occasionally I give you a little update on either why a video is late or anything going on in between videos, so I need to use that community tab more to keep in touch with you. As far as business goes, I haven't touched it for the last 2-3 weeks because there was a family emergency, and that took priority, and then was all the catching up now. And the videos have been late. I didn't post one last week. The week before last week I posted on the Monday the week before's video, so that was late. So I apologize for the non-consistent uploads, but I have said before that I can't always do consistent uploads. They say, oh, you need to go ahead and make your videos ahead of time and then upload it and schedule it for the date so it goes out automatically whether you're available or not. That's fine. I've done that a couple of times and I still do when I get a chance as a backup. In fact, I have a backup video that I'll share with you another time when I really don't have chance to make a video, and I'll save that for you for then. It's just so lovely out here. Can you see the garden behind me? I can't tell if you can or not. I don't even know if I'm in the screen because I can't see. I haven't flipped. It's not in selfie mode. So for all I know, all you can see is the hat. Oh, never mind. Okay. Finding solutions for your own problems. Staying free mentally as well and intellectually to be able to find those solutions and not just stick with the ones that you're given. Yeah. I'm listening to the birds and I'm waffling, and I'm gonna have to edit out a whole bunch of this video because it's too long. Never. Yes, there's a lot of things growing that I'll show you next time. The house, I haven't been able to do a huge amount of clearing out lately. Understandably, that time of the year, the season for that has passed, and this is the season for growing and preparing for winter. And that's another thing before I go as well, before I forget, in case I forget for the next video, I'll tell you now as well. It's important to get started growing now. You know from the forecasts, which are true, we don't have any control over that. We know that things are going to be very much more expensive than they already are. We talk about this cost of living crisis. Well, it's going to get a heck of a lot worse by the autumn. And proper hitting the fan. So if things are going to be double in price from what they are now, then your spending ability is going to be severely tailored, shall we say. So get into your garden. If you don't have a garden, find one. Like I've said before, find a family member or a friend who has a garden they cannot use or don't use and don't want to use. And ask if you can use their garden to grow food. Yes, of course you're going to grow for them as well. It's their garden. You come to an arrangement that's between you, but find a garden. Allotment space is difficult to get hold of because the waiting list is so long, and you need to get going now. Start simple, start basic. Just start with, even if you don't have stuff to build a raised bed, if you're not going to be doing digging, if you can't face digging, you don't have to. I have done videos in the past about no dig, and there are loads of no dig videos on the internet. If you really want me to do one, then ask. I'm busy helping my daughter set up her garden. I'll show you how I do that from scratch if you want. If you're interested in how to start a garden from scratch, please ask, because that's what we're doing over there. I won't do it unless you want it, because I've already, like I said, 490 odd videos. I don't want to put up anything more than is useful to you. It might just get lost in the number. So yeah, if you want me to do that, I'll do that. If you're starting from scratch, you don't have to have a raised bed with sides on it. You could literally just mound up soil. In fact, those are some of my favorite gardens, and you'll have a lot less problems with slugs and snails without raised bed edges, because they're lovely hiding places for slugs and snails. And if you've got things like frogs and hedgehogs and the like of wildlife who eat the slugs and snails, then you're very lucky. I do not. And what you're growing now, you can still get your summer veggies in now, and even some fruits, although trees won't give you fruit. If you're growing from small trees, you're not going to get fruit for a couple of years. But plant it now, and in a couple of years you'll be glad that you did. That you could still get fruit from if your berries. You're growing your berries, you'll still get fruit, although not much. You need quite a big volume to grow berries to the volume that you'd like to harvest and save and use for your garden, because those are the kind of things that are actually very expensive to buy. Grow those. But right now is when you'll be planting your stuff for winter, because some of the stuff that you harvest during the winter is what you'll be planting now, because it takes that long to grow. So the things, and you will get very familiar with what's seasonal, because we don't shop seasonal in supermarkets because they import from other countries. But when you grow in your own, you're going to learn very quickly what is seasonal. Like now we're getting a lot of winter vegetables. I've got leeks going, I've got cabbages going for the winter, I've got quite a few other things. I don't have parsnips this year. They just never take well in my garden, and if they do, they don't seem to last. They just tend to bolt in my garden. So I never have much success with parsnips. I will continue to try every year, but there's a very short window in every year for you to grow parsnips because they take that long to mature. Then that's usually by February and March. After that, there's no point, you won't get any, but still worth a go. I often say just chuck out the rules and have a go anyway. Okay, and think perennial vegetables. If you don't have much space, that's especially valuable if you grow perennial vegetables. So get used to eating things that you don't normally have. Like if your cabbages take up a huge amount of space, but if you get tree cabbage or perennial cabbage or kale, that you get a lot more from over a longer period of time than a cabbage, because a cabbage takes up a huge amount of space for one head, and you harvest the head and that's it, done. So think perennial vegetables as well. That could be very interesting and exciting and fun. I do quite a few perennial vegetables that I've shared with you before. Anyway, we're dragging on, and I just wanted to get that in before the end of the video in case I forgot. So solving your own problems, coming up with your own solutions, stay free and get growing now. It's no good coming to autumn and thinking you haven't got enough money for paying the bills, let alone buying the groceries. Get food in now and stick with the staples to start with if you really have to, and while you're starting. So think about what you eat. It's no good growing something you don't eat, because by the time you harvest it, you're not going to like it and it's a waste. Because you also need to learn how to preserve and store things so that it could last you through the winter. So we'll cover that in another video. I actually do have that covered in the courses that are online on Shopify. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, as always. And if you're in the UK and you need to save money on your bills, your utility bills, there's my link in the bottom as well. I think I need to wrap it up here. I've waffled enough. I'm going to check this video to see if you can even see or hear me. And if not, I'll have to start again. And I'll do it on selfie mode. Oh well, anyway, so stay hydrated as well. I thought I'd do this video while I'm waiting for my herbal tea to brew and cool down, because I don't like hot drinks. I prefer them slightly warm to cool. Hot water. I don't normally use sun creams. I don't like sun creams. I don't like the chemicals, so cover up. And of course, I believe I heard somewhere that coconut oil has an SPF of 6. Don't take my word for that. It's hearsay. I believe it, but it's not advice. Okay? Right, folks. Have a wonderful week. Until the next video. I can't tell you what it is because I don't know yet. Okay? I'm not that organized. But I shall see you in the next one. And until then, enjoy the lovely weather, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, then make the most of winter and start planning your garden for the summer. Best time to do it. If you're with me in the northern hemisphere and you've got summer, do enjoy the lovely summer. They say we're going to hit a terrible drought, so maybe in the next video I might cover how I'm drought proofing my home and garden and how we're coping with the heat. So yeah. Okay, that's it, done, sorted. Next video planned. Love it. Okay, see you next time, folks. Have a good week. Bye bye.